Hey, all right, everybody, welcome. Glad to be back doing this lesson. This lesson is going to be about, as you can see, an introduction to ultra processed foods. This is going to be a long lesson. However, it is going to be broken up. So this is going to be module 4, but we're going to have to do a module 4.1 and a module 4.2 because this is so long. And I'm going to go in while we're doing this lesson. I'm going to explain to you why this lesson really does have to be a pretty long lesson. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get some of these things that are in my way out of my way so that we can go ahead and get started. All right. So once again, you're going to, as a matter of fact, it's actually storming outside. So let me let you know that up front. If you hear thunder and lightning, the time of this recording, it is doing some storming outside. So hopefully you won't be able to hear that. But if you do now, hopefully you have an understanding of why. So let's go ahead and get started into our lesson, module 4.1. This is going to be the first of module 4. The question asks, which farmer will you buy from? Which farmer will you buy from? We're getting ready to go into some scripture. Our first lesson on this one will involve a scripture study for lesson 1. And we're doing this because we have to set this up for you to get an understanding of the biblical principle of whole food and food that has been created or food that has been put here by an enemy, basically. That's the whole concept of this principle. One is done by a good farmer. The other one is done by an enemy farmer who plants poor seed. So hopefully you'll get a really great understanding and a comparison between the food, between the wheat and the darnel that we're going to read about. So, hey, just sit back and enjoy this. I enjoy doing this lesson. We're going to spend a lot of time on ultra processed food because once you understand what ultra processed food or processed food is, once you understand that, I doubt you'll ever want to eat it. I doubt you'll ever want to consume it because you're going to notice the things that are in it. So we're going to do some really good study on this. So let's go ahead and continue. Okay, lesson 1, the weeds. Our scripture reference today is going to be, for module 4, is going to be parable of the weeds. Matthew chapter 13, verse 24 through 30. Matthew 13, 24 through 30. And for those of you who do not have the Bible in front of you, I do have the scripture on the screen for you, and that's not a problem. Okay, so this scripture reference will be for all of module 4. It'll be for module 4.2. It'll be for module 4.3. You know, each one of those will be a week. All right, so let's go ahead and get to it because I'm very excited about this. Okay, so the parable of the weeds is what's going to bring us into an understanding of ultra processed food and whole food. Let's look at the comparison that we're getting ready to move into. All right, so Matthew 13 and starting in verse 24. It says, another parable he put before them, saying, the reign or the kingdom of the heavens has become like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed darnel, or some of you may know it as tares, among the wheat and went away. Now look at the footnote to this. Darnel looks like wheat, but it's poisonous to man and beast. All right, so it looks like wheat, but it's poisonous. And when the blade sprouted up and bore fruit, then the darnel also appeared. And the servants of the master of the house came and said to him, Master, did you not sow good seed in your field? From where then does it have the darnel? And he said to them, a man, an enemy, did this. And the servants said to him, do you wish then that we go and gather them up? But he said, no, lest while you gather up the darnel, you also uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. And at that time of harvest, I shall say to the reapers, first, I want you all to listen to this, okay? Um, just listen to what the scriptures say. The Most High, He always explains the happening of things through His parables. Okay, the Messiah, when He speaks His parables, He's telling you of the end. So listen to this. He says, first, gather the darnel or the tares and bind them in bundles to burn them. Then gather the wheat into my granary. All right. So first he's going to go out. He's going to pluck up the weeds. He's going to gather the darnel and he's going to bundle them up and he's going to burn them. And then he's going to bring the good stuff into his granary. All right. I hope you all are seeing the spiritual interpretation of what this is actually saying. So he's going to gather the wicked and then he's going to gather the righteous and bring them into his kingdom. Okay, the wheat into my granary, the righteous people into his kingdom. So the word is very specific. Okay, the parables are very specific in telling us. So let's move now into what he's actually going to be doing. So look at wheat. Okay, there's some characteristics of wheat that you have to understand, that you have to notice. Okay, all right. Wheat, if you look at it, it has a bend to it. It bows. It's very humble. When you look at it, when you look of a grain field of wheat, you see the wheat bowing over, bowing over when the wind is blowing. Now, let's look at darnel. Darnel usually stands erect. Okay, it's like very prideful. I mean, it's just like people. You know, you have those who have humility before the Most High, and you have those who are very proud, very arrogant before the Most High. Those are the people who do things that they want to do their own way, and it does not benefit the humble. These are the people who listen to the instructions of the Most High, who are obedient to Him, who humble themselves, and He provides and takes care of them. Okay, so let's look at the comparisons between the two. Okay, here are similarities: toxicity and health risk. Toxicity and health risk. Darnel, or tares as we know them, contains toxic alkaloids that can cause severe health issues such as nausea, vomiting, dizziness, and neurological disturbances. All right, so that's what darnel does to the body. Ultra processed foods often contains unhealthy additives, high levels of sugar, salt, and unhealthy fats. Notice it says unhealthy fats, which can lead to obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and other health problems. So as you can see, there is a real comparison between the tare or the darnel and the ultra processed food. Both are poisonous to the body. It doesn't matter how we look at it. They're both poisonous to the body. Okay, contamination and processing. Darnel historically contaminated wheat, leading to poisoning. Difficult to separate from wheat due to its similar appearance. Remember, they both kind of look alike until they become ripe. Then you can tell one from another. But growing up together, you can't hardly tell the difference between the two. Even with the seeds, it's the same. The seeds look just about alike. Okay, now let's look at ultra processed foods. Involves significant processing that strips away natural nutrients and adds artificial ingredients, leading to a loss of nutritional value and potential health risks. You see, this is risky. Eating this is risky, just like eating the tare or the darnel is risky. It's amazing how the biblical principle even pertains to how we are to eat today. The types of food, there is real food for us, and then food that is created that is a danger. It's really not food, okay? As many of you know, I'll call it industrial edible product. All right, negative impacts on health. Darnel, directly harmful if consumed due to its toxic properties. Ultra processed foods contribute to poor health outcomes due to their nutrient poor and calorie dense nature, promoting unhealthy eating patterns. Okay, so what is this actually saying? What does it mean by nutrient poor and also calorie dense? It means that it has hardly no nutrients, no benefits for our bodies when we consume it, but it has a lot of, let's call it calories. It has a lot of calories to it. So it doesn't benefit your body, but it causes you to gain weight. So we're eating this stuff and it has no benefits to our body and it makes us swell up. It makes us gain weight. That's stuff that we really don't want on our bodies and causes unhealthy eating patterns. What that is actually saying is it causes us to eat all the time because our body craves it. We want more of it. So we can't listen to the chemical process that are going on in our body. All right, let's look at similarities in nutritional value. So now we're going to be moving into the wheat and the whole food. This is amazing when you look at the comparison that takes place here. All right, wheat in its whole form, whole wheat provides essential nutrients such as fiber, vitamins, and minerals that support overall health. Now let's look at whole food. Whole foods, generally unprocessed or minimally processed, like fruits, vegetable, whole grains, nuts, and seeds that retain their natural nutrients and are beneficial for health. All right? So what we get from the store, let's look at bread. Whole wheat bread. Okay, when we buy whole wheat bread from the store, it's been broken down and stripped. It's really not what bread used to be during biblical times. Okay, so it's like broken down and stripped. It's been processed. Okay, so that's why you'll find people like my wife or my daughter, when they make bread, they use the whole grain and it is milled, but it's actually from that whole grain. Nothing has been taken from it whatsoever. That is good, healthy bread. You know, there is no emulsifiers being added to it. There are no additives being added to it. It's a good, healthy bread. All right, let's go to the next frame. Okay, health benefits. Wheat, whole wheat consumption is associated with a reduced risk of chronic disease such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and certain cancers due to its high fiber content and nutrient profile. You know, people who are diabetic, they really have to watch how much bread they eat because bread, it breaks down into sugars. Okay, especially the bread that is manufactured. That kind of bread is not beneficial to your body. Just read the additives on the back of the loaf of bread. But if you can get a good, a naturally milled loaf of bread, that's good. You're going to pay more for it. It's more coarse. It's not soft and fluffy. It's harder. But that's the good stuff. All right, whole foods. Let's look at the whole foods. Whole foods, a diet rich in whole foods is linked to improved health outcomes, including better weight management, lower risk of chronic disease, and enhanced overall well-being. All right, so what is overall well-being? All right, overall well-being means our whole body. Okay, you know how you'll go to the doctor, you may have a symptom, he'll give you some prescription medications just for that symptom. And then you'll have a host of other things that are going on. Well, that prescription that he gave you is only going to treat that symptom. But if you look at whole food, it treats the whole body, the whole well-being. You know, it lowers risk of chronic diseases. That means all of them. All right. So that's why it's great. It's going to be imperative that you eat whole foods if you really want a body and a health transformation. They're super important. Okay, natural state. Wheat. Whole wheat is consumed in its natural state or minimally processed state. preserving its nutritional integrity. So the minimally processed state is going to be having the wheat milled. Okay, it's going to be naturally milled and making bread out of that. All right, you're going to find that bread is not going to taste like what you buy at the store, and that way it keeps its nutritional integrity. All right. Whole foods consumed close to their natural state, ensuring maximum retention of nutrients and health benefits. Okay, so let's look at a minimally processed whole food. That's going to be something like frozen vegetables. Okay, it's already been cut up and it's in the freezer, it's frozen. Okay, that's a minimally processed, still has its nutritional value to it, but it's been minimally processed. Bagged and frozen fruit. It's been minimally processed, but it's still going to contain its nutrients. So those are the things that we want to deal with. Anything that is sitting up on the shelf that has a long shelf life, that is going to be a detriment to your body. I once heard some people saying, you can tell what is good for your body and what is not good for your body. Because what is good for your body is going to die quickly. What is bad for your body will stay around a long time. So when you go into a grocery store and everything that you see boxed on a shelf, it's bad for you. Packaged, it's bad for you. On the other hand, everything that is good for you is going to be on that outer section, the produce, the fibers, the fruits, the vegetables, all of those things, watch them over a period of a couple of days, they'll begin to die, begin to wilt. Those are the things that has life in it. They ripen and then they die. And that's when we eat them, when they ripen. So, those are the things that your body needs to exist. It's what your body needs to have a whole well-being, for everything in your body to be right. All right. So let's look at darnel compared to wheat as ultra-processed food is compared to whole food. All right. Darnel, or ultra-processed food, both pose significant health risks due to toxic properties, darnel, or unhealthy additives, and processing ultra foods. They offer little to no nutritional benefits and can lead to serious health issues. All right, so whether it is the darnel or whether it is the ultra processed food, it is not benefiting your body. Okay, wheat is compared to whole foods. Both provide essential nutrients and health benefits, promoting overall well-being. They are consumed in their natural or minimally processed state, ensuring high nutritional value. So I think you can pretty much get the gist of how the comparison is working. Darnel, ultra-processed food; wheat, whole food. Darnel will actually, it's poisonous and it will kill you, okay? Ultra processed food, it is poisonous and it will kill you. Maybe over a long period or extended period of time, but the outcome of it is going to be either a loss of life or a life where you're just living. You're not living life to its full, you're just living. And in that living process, there can be lots of pain, sickness, disease, all of those things. Okay, so be very careful what you choose to eat. Understanding these comparisons underscores the importance of choosing whole food over ultra processed options to maintain good health and avoid potential risks associated with highly processed and contaminated food items. All right, so I think we pretty much get the gist of it. If it's a whole food, you're going to live. If it's a processed food, it's a dead food. And if you eat dead food, what happens to your body? Eventually, it dies. All right? Okay, so this is going to be the end of lesson 1, and I'll see you again in lesson 2.